Welcome to JForrest English. I'm Jennifer, and today we're going to read a news article together from Fox News to help you improve your reading skills, to learn advanced vocabulary, correct grammar, and even correct pronunciation. Let's get started.
Our headline: Trump says he's under total assault because he's leading in 2024 GOP polls, takes swipes at DeSantis. First of all, of course, Trump is former President Donald Trump. He needs no introduction. If you didn't know DeSantis, he is Ron DeSantis, and he's the current governor of Florida. And also, if you didn't know, GOP, do you know what this stands for? This is an abbreviation, and it stands for Grand Old Party. That's right. GOP stands for Grand Old Party, but nobody calls it Grand Old Party. Everyone says GOP, and that is a nickname for the Republican Party. Trump is a Republican. DeSantis is a Republican. Joe Biden, the current president, is a Democrat. Now, GOP, when you see this, just think Republican Party polls. Let's take a look at this. Takes swipes at DeSantis. This is just part of a sentence. The full sentence would be Trump takes swipes at DeSantis. And that's why you see this S here, because it's conjugated with the subject, Trump, even though the subject isn't there. So this represents Trump, or you could say he. And that is why we have S on our verb in the present simple. He takes swipes at DeSantis. When you take swipes at someone, it's a way of insulting them or criticizing them or attacking them, which is another way of saying assault. So he's pointing out the flaws of DeSantis. He's taking swipes at DeSantis. I have the definition here. And for an example, my boss always takes swipes at me. Now notice, we have the S because it's conjugated with my subject, third person singular, but we also have an S on swipes. Swipes always has an S, but if I change this to my bosses, because I have more than one boss, my bosses always take swipes at me because this represents the subject they. Okay, so remember that. Conjugate your verb, but you always leave the S on swipes. And then because they're always criticizing me, insulting me, taking swipes at me, I could say, I feel like I'm under attack or under assault. So that was the language used here. And notice we have our verb to be, our preposition under, and then attack or assault. You can use either one. Let's continue. Trump noted that DeSantis, who, despite touring key states traditionally crucial in a GOP presidential primary, had remained coy when asked if he has White House aspirations. So if you didn't know, the rumor is that DeSantis is going to announce his candidacy for the 2024 election, which means he might become a competitor to Donald Trump. Let's take a look at this word. He remained coy. When you're coy, it means you intentionally, on purpose, keep something secret. For example, my boss is coy about who's getting the promotion. So to be coy means you're intentionally keeping something secret. Your boss knows who's getting the promotion. She's already decided, but she's keeping it a secret for whatever reason. She's coy. So here, DeSantis is being coy about whether or not he's going to run for president. So our beginning of the sentence. So notice we have this comma here and then another comma here. This is all additional information, but the actual sentence is Trump noted that DeSantis, and now I can go all the way to the next comma. Trump noted that DeSantis is now reportedly planning to launch an exploratory committee on a run in 2024. Launch is another way of saying start. So he's going to start or initiate a committee. Now, exploratory describes the committee. Exploratory just comes from the word explore. So it's a committee designed simply to explore options. And what are they exploring? What options? Well, they're exploring whether DeSantis has enough popularity or support to officially announce his candidacy for the 2024 presidential election. So that is to run in 2024 because you run for office. That's the verb we use for a political position. It doesn't have to be for president to run for an elected position, whatever that elected position is. You could run for mayor of your small town of only 10,000 people. You could run for city councilor. You could run for president. You could run for school board trustee. So if it's an elected position, you run for that position, which is saying you are officially a candidate in the competition, in the election. Okay, let's continue. He's going to form an exploratory committee to determine. This is Trump's quote. So Trump is saying these words, and the he is DeSantis. I know that because Trump is saying this, and the only other he in the article is DeSantis. DeSantis is going to form an exploratory committee to determine. And then it changes ideas. Well, that's a big step because he said he was never looking at committees. So Trump is implying that DeSantis previously said he wasn't going to run. He was never going to. That wasn't his intention. Now, don't worry about taking notes because I've summarized everything in a lesson PDF that you can look in the description below to download. Now he's looking at committees. It's amazing what being 40 down does. In this case, 40 down, that represents points. Is how they measure the popularity of different candidates. To be honest, I don't know what 40 points represents, how many people that represents, but he's 40 down, which means he's less popular than Trump and most likely other candidates as well. Trump told Bannon Saturday, the donors are largely leaving him now. So the donors, those are the people that give money for a specific purpose. Often it's for charitable contributions, but you can donate. That's the verb, to donate, to give money or things, often for charitable purposes. I said or things because you could donate a car to a charity and then the charity could give that car to someone in need, or they could sell the car and then use the money to support other initiatives. You can donate your time as well. So you don't have to give money to donate. Now, if you donate to a cause, you are a donor. So this is the noun. So the noun, a donor is someone who donates. And in this case, the donors most likely donate financially to DeSantis's campaign, but it's possible that they also donate their time or other resources as well. but the donors are largely leaving him. So they're deciding not to donate because he's 40 down, which means he's not very popular. Trump and Bannon spoke of a new book titled Letters to Trump, which included correspondence between Trump and an array of world leaders before he became president. Let's take a look at the noun array. An array, this is a large group of things or people. So here, the book, Letters to Trump, included correspondence between Trump and a large group of world leaders. So many world leaders, an array of. For a more everyday context, you could say there was a delicious array of food at the party. So here, notice, if I got rid of my adjective delicious, then I would need to add an because array starts with a vowel. But if I separate this with an adjective that doesn't start in a vowel, then I would get rid of that N. But I could use a vowel or an adjective that starts with a vowel, such as there was an appetizing array of food at the party, or an appealing array of food at the party. But I like delicious. There was a delicious array of food at the party. So that's a great noun for you, and you can add an adjective to make it sound more advanced. All right. Now, if you're enjoying this lesson, and I hope you are, then I want to tell you about the Finally Fluent Academy. This is my premium training program where we study native English speakers on YouTube, TV, movies, the news, so you can get comfortable with fast-paced English, improve your listening skills, and also add natural expressions, advanced vocabulary, advanced grammar to your speech. So if you'd like to join, you can look in the description to learn more about becoming a member today. Now let's continue. NBC News reported last week that DeSantis is planning to officially declare his presidential candidacy, which means he's going to become a candidate. A candidate is someone who's running for office. So a candidate, someone who's running for office, which means an elected position. And remember our verb, you run for an elected position. So candidacy is just the form of the word candidate. So presidential candidacy, and you declare your candidacy, which simply means DeSantis officially says, I am running for president. But this hasn't happened yet. It's just a rumor, because remember, DeSantis is being coy about whether or not he's going to run. So he's planning to officially declare his presidential candidacy in mid-May. So if you're watching this video after mid-May, you will now know if he declared it or not. To combat the narrative that Trump will remain the 2024 GOP, which represents Republican Party, frontrunner. A frontrunner is someone who is winning, someone who is leading, the person who is the most likely to win, the most popular. So the front runner. Most popular, most likely to win. Taylor Budowich, a former Trump spokesman and now head of MAGA Inc., had alleged that there was probable cause to investigate whether the governor had broken the law by fundraising through his Friends of Ron DeSantis PAC. Okay, when you allege something, it means you claim that someone else did something wrong. But it's important to note that there is no proof. So I could simply say, hey, you stole my wallet, but I have no proof that you stole my wallet. I'm alleging that you stole my wallet. So the spokesman alleged that there was probable cause to investigate whether the governor had broken the law by fundraising. So when you investigate something, you look into it to determine if it's true or not true. Having his team interview political operatives in early primary states, going on a personally lucrative book tour. Let's take a look at this adjective. When something is lucrative, it means it produces a lot of money. So this is a very good thing. It's generally used in a business context. For example, our business partnership, has been very lucrative. Has been. Notice I use the present perfect because it suggests that our partnership has been lucrative. It started at some point in the past, but it continues until now. So it is still lucrative, and it's been lucrative in the past as well, and it will continue into the future. Our partnership has been very lucrative, which means it's produced a lot of money. And taking other steps toward running for president, again, that verb, you run for an elected position, running for president, while not officially declaring his candidacy for higher office. So these are the claims against DeSantis. These are the things that he did wrong, which is what the spokesperson is alleging. But remember, when you allege something, you don't have proof. A spokeswoman for DeSantis called the complaint frivolous. Frivolous is a fun adjective to say, frivolous. When something is frivolous, it means it's silly, it's not serious, or it's not important. So the spokeswoman is saying the complaint is frivolous because they're silly complaints. They're not real. And she's saying that because remember, when you allege something, there's no proof. So they're frivolous and politically motivated, and said it was inappropriate to use state ethics complaints for partisan purposes. Notice here, the author of this article chose to say spokeswoman and spokesman. Of course, you can say that, but today in modern usage, we generally don't use gender-specific nouns. We generally just use person. So instead of saying businessman, businesswoman, mailman, fireman, because it doesn't include both genders, now there is a trend towards saying spokesperson. So you can say that, and then you don't have to identify if it's a man or a woman, but it's certainly not incorrect to say spokesman or spokeswoman. It's just more of a trend towards using these gender neutral expressions. And that is the end of our article. So what I'll do now is I'll go to the top and I'll read the article from start to finish. And this time you can focus on my pronunciation. Trump says he's under total assault because he's leading in 2024 GOP polls. Take swipes at DeSantis. Trump noted that DeSantis, who despite touring key states traditionally crucial in a GOP presidential primary, had remained coy when asked if he has White House aspirations, is now reportedly planning to launch an exploratory committee on a run in 2024. He's going to form an exploratory committee to determine. Well, that's a big step because he said he was never looking at committees. Now he's looking at committees. It's amazing what being 40 down does, Trump told Bannon Saturday. The donors are largely leaving him now. Trump and Bannon spoke of a new book titled Letters to Trump, which included correspondence between Trump and an array of world leaders before he became president. NBC News reported last week that DeSantis is planning to officially declare his presidential candidacy in mid-May to combat the narrative that Trump will remain the 2024 GOP frontrunner. Taylor Budowich, a former Trump spokesman and now head of MAGA Inc., had alleged that there was probable cause to investigate whether the governor had broken the law by fundraising through his Friends of Ron DeSantis PAC, having his team interview political operatives in early primary states, going on a personally lucrative book tour, and taking other steps toward running for president while not officially declaring his candidacy for higher office. A spokeswoman for DeSantis called the complaint frivolous and politically motivated and said it was inappropriate to use state ethics complaints for partisan purposes.
I hope you enjoyed this lesson. I have many more Learn English with the News lessons, so make sure you subscribe to get notified every time I post a new one. And make sure you download this free speaking guide where I share 6 tips on how to speak English fluently and confidently. You can download it from my website right here. And you can get started with your next lesson right now.